Kirk may show up. Who knows? Who knows? We've had the rare. Me and Stacken went to the show once for like an hour, or it was just us. And here it is, folks. The M&M boys, Marcus and Mitchell, Kriens and the Blue Jays.
Go Blue Jays!
Go
do it for Canada.
Do it for old Pirate Arm, who's got a 1-game suspension because he shot somebody. Sports Lounge. This is number 177. Post-July 4th edition. We were 1 day late.
Happy Independence, everybody.
Happy Independence Day. An hour late, a day short of the big Kevin Durant news. He's gonna play basketball for Golden State for the next couple of years, it appears. Moving on from Oklahoma City. Your thoughts, Traxler, on Kevin Durant, either the second best or the third best player in the world, going to play with either the second best or the third best player in the world in Golden State?
I'm fine with it. I'm a lot more fine with it than some pundits have been. Some Oklahoma City people probably are. I think, he just you can't say he didn't put his time in Oklahoma City. 8 years there plus the 1 year in Seattle, 9 years with that franchise, and they didn't get a championship. I think he did what he tried to, he tried. I don't think you could say he didn't try. I think the part that's a little difficult is that, obviously they were pretty close to beating the team that he ends up joining. That's probably a little bittersweet in a lot of ways. And I honestly, I'd rather have him on the Thunder than on the Warriors, just from a competitive standpoint. I like that it's sort of a little bit more equal between those two teams. Now it'll be a little less equal because the Warriors will be that much better. I think they're a dangerous team, even more so than they were last year. I think it's going to be interesting how they're going to go through this. If I can sort of advance the story a little bit, they're going to go through this free agency and they're not really going to fix what the Cavs ended up beating them on, which was getting to the basket. They aren't going to have the rim protectors because they're not going to have a Bogut.
Festus.
They'll have Festus, I guess.
No, he's gone.
He left.
I don't think he signed with anybody, but I don't think he's coming back.
He's not coming back. No, okay. Not that Harrison Barnes was a rim protector, but he's not going to be back on the team. This is just sort of the way it works out in the NFL, the NBA, where it's hard to really keep all your guys all at one time. So, and you got to sacrifice a little when you bring in a guy like Kevin Durant. So, I don't know. I think there's a lot of subplots. I think the Warriors are the best team. They will be the best team again. Will they close the whole deal out? Who really knows? But I think it just sort of sets up that whole Cavs-Warriors finals again. That will be incredibly intriguing.
Competitive-wise, you'd like to see him with Oklahoma City.
Yeah, and at the same time, though, I don't exactly buy. There's some people saying, well, is the West now the East where, it's just one team? I wouldn't say it's a one-team competition, but they are better than everybody else. Wow. I mean, you still have the Thunder won't be trash. Spurs are getting old, but I think that's a franchise that's always
been old for 25 years.
Yeah, they've always been able to sort of reinvent themselves, and I don't think that's going to be a problem now. And Clippers, I don't know. I think they could put something better together. The idea I'm warming up to, or at least I think is interesting, is the Thunder trying to re-sign Westbrook in some way and then trying to convince somebody next year to come join the Thunder, whether that's a Blake Griffin or somebody else. I don't know who that player is that really would fit there, but I think that's interesting if Oklahoma City decides to do that, because I think that's probably a better situation team-wise than wherever Westbrook is going to end up, because that seems to be Lakers, New York. That seems to be the talk.
Would you rather see Durant with Golden State to see just what the hell that's going to be, or would you want to see him with the Thunder go one more round?
I would have liked to have seen one more round with the Thunder because I thought they were close. I don't really know exactly how the Oladipo thing is going to work out, but it was intriguing. as far as like a history standpoint, I'm glad we're seeing Durant with Curry and Thompson, but we also get a chance to see that in the Olympics and the international play as well. So it's not like we never would have had a chance to see that type of play. It'll be interesting. I think they're going to be a really good team. And as far as history goes, that's going to be something people are going to remember for a long time. I think the other thing I've thought a little bit about is these things, they just never last. So how long do you think this stays intact? 3 years, 4 years, and then something will probably happen unless they win a title in all those years. But there's always somebody else who's willing to throw money at one of the guys, and then you see it break up. I mean, somebody used the perspective of even the LeBron thing to Miami, and now Bosh is the only guy left there, and he may not be able to play. So it's interesting how quickly these things can change and things can fall apart rather fast when just so much changes over a matter of a couple of years.
I'd say as long as they win, which they should, I think Durant will be there for a good, 5 years, 6 years. And at that point, he'll be in his mid-30s.
Yeah, well, I would say there was somebody on ESPN Radio who asked if this will be Durant's last move of his career, and I said no way. I don't think that's going to happen. I would say he'll probably end up on one more team, some way, somehow. But because he's too young, really to say, well, this will be the final move of his career. But I don't know. It'll be really interesting to see how this all shakes out. And if it's a 2 titles in 4 years thing, I could see it breaking up, similar to how LeBron left. Just anything like that's possible.
They lose a half dozen guys, the Festises, the Harrison Barnes. They're better now because they got Durant, obviously, but
no depth.
The depth
that's gonna be a problem.
Could be an issue. You can't expect them to win 70 again. They might fucking win 70 again, for God's sakes.
Oh, 70? Yeah, as far as like, well, are they going to win 74 games next year? No, I don't think so. It's going to be tough.
Because I don't know what the record is for wins in 3 years. They won 73 this year, I think 67 the year before. Mm-hmm. And people would probably say they're going to win at least 67 this year. So I would say that's probably the best 3-year run anybody's ever had.
Yeah.
Everybody thought he was going to stay with Oklahoma City. The deal was 90% chance he's going to stay with Oklahoma City. And then, but if you're just comparing these two, there's no fucking question. You go to Golden State, a team that we've rarely seen, a team this good, this young, and they should be good for numerous years to come. And you got a guy coming into his 10th season, and he needs the ring. And you go to Golden State, and you're probably going to get at least one, if not multiple rings. Mm-hmm. So as far as what team should I go to, it was easy choice to say Golden State is that team. I don't know why you would stay in Oklahoma City, unless you just want to say I was here, we were close. But I mean, Golden State's more than just they're just the best team in the league. No, they're on a historic run. Yeah. Yes, I mean it's unbelievable what they're doing.
Yeah, a couple points there is one. I mean, aside from playing in that city for 8 years, Kevin Durant, he doesn't owe Oklahoma City anything.
He has no connection to.
No, he gave them. It's not like a LeBron situation where he was from there and people felt like he was theirs. And by the way, in some ways, Durant can thank LeBron for doing this 5 years ago or however long that was, because I feel like that takes some heat off of Durant. We've seen somebody do this where they want to join up with other players or other guys they like, and they want to form a super team, quote unquote. So I think that's helpful for Durant in this situation. I think he did a lot for Oklahoma City in a short amount of time. He didn't win the championship, but he was certainly more than generous with. They had a goddamn tornado sweep through, and he gave him $1 million. So that's and you don't see that very often. So
the tornado or the $1 million or both?
You see the tornado quite a bit,
Right.
to be honest. But, and I would say that, you put this decision in a vacuum. I would tend to agree. It's a no-brainer where it's just like, yeah, they're a really good team, and I want to be a part of that. Look at their lineup.
Jeez.
They have a spot. They have a spot for him.
Yep.
It's not like it's not. And he kind of mentioned it in his press conference. It's not like he's a point guard and he's coming in and Curry's a point guard and they're gonna have to figure out how he and Thompson are gonna have to play. No, they can pretty much drop him in there. Iguodala isn't really gonna care. He's on the backside of his career. He's gonna get some time. But other than that, he fits in there and he plays in a way that's pretty similar to them. He's a good shooter. He's able to get to the basket. I think in a lot of ways he will fit in there. And I know to me it's sometimes apples to oranges, but I feel like it's an okay comparison to make in this situation. If the top top business in our field offered us the most money or a ton of money to be in the best situation in a great location like California, I just don't know I don't know who would say no to that. Who's going to say no to being on the best team with the best people in the best situation? Where you're going to be you're guaranteed to win. That's just, it seems like a no-brainer.
Yeah, nobody would choose. I'm going to stay here for. You probably make the money. The money is really, man. I think he's making Oklahoma City could offer him a few more bucks, but when it comes to this, I mean. Once you're at 100 million, I mean, what's 105, 100? Yeah. What's the difference between friends? What's the difference between $5 million and all that with the shoes and whatnot?
Oh yeah, I mean, I would say, okay, I know I will probably get ripped to shreds about this after the show by a certain redheaded bearded man who appears on here, but Durant, his shoe thing with Nike is about as lucrative as it gets. I mean, it's not on Michael Jordan level, but as far as any player right now, currently, there's no comparison. I mean, LeBron's in the same neighborhood. Kobe Bryant just retired. That would be the other comparison. But other than that, he's the most popular athlete as far as shoes and merchandise and all that stuff. So that's a huge – I mean, he's making money hand over fist that way as well. And his teammate Curry has nothing in that comparison right now with Under Armour. So – Kevin Durant is doing quite well, and yeah, I think he'll do even better in California than he did in goddamn Oklahoma.
The LeBron thing, I think if he would have stayed with Cleveland, they would end up winning a title or one of those 3 or 4 next years because they were very close. And I don't know, the Celtics were on the end of their run there.
Their lineup was a concern.
I mean,
in that period,
sign a goddamn guy for the.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with that.
We're gonna get Mo Williams and Ilgauskas. We're gonna get Wally Zerbiak in there because we need a 3-point shooter. How do you rotate some of these guys as far as you'll start the game with them, you'll end the game with them. You say, okay, Durant, you'll play early second quarter. Curry and Thompson will bring you in to close out the half. How do you mix and match so that it would seem to be a good strategy would to say maybe not play all of them all of the time. Durant, you play this and you can play with Draymond Green a little bit and mix and match a little bit.
I have no idea. I'm not a lineup expert or NBA rotations.
What's the plus minus? What's the plus minuses here?
I'm not an insider in that way either. So I don't know the nuances. Obviously, you want them.
What would you do?
I think I would
take one of them out at the end of the first quarter, rest them for a couple minutes, and then okay.
I think the end of the first and the end of the third would be the obvious places to sort of take your guys out, and you're going to leave one of them in there. One of those, 2 of them probably, if you're counting.
Will they? Okay, how about this? Will there ever be a time in the middle of the game where one of those 4 guys is not on the floor? Would that make
if we're talking like the second quarter and the game is relatively close? I'd say no. I'd say
one of those 4 guys has to be on the floor at all times.
I would say that's a good philosophy. That's because it gives you somebody to sort of run the offense through sort of at all times. And that seems like pretty good option. I don't. That would. Like I said, I'm not a nuanced NBA mind, but I would
You've
think
never
that
even
would work.
seen the basketball before. For Christ's sake. I mean, we're just talking out of our ass here. You got Iguodala off the bench. Sean Livingston, backup point guard, very good. They lose a lot of guys. David West signed for, I believe, $2.50 is what he signed for. Because he didn't get the title in San Antonio. So, we're going to – I like those old guys that are so good.
Yes.
I need the title. I'll go to the Spurs. No, they didn't do it. I'll go to the Thunder. I'll go to the Warriors. Cleveland. I'm going to go to Cleveland for a couple of years if I can get one there.
I like to call that the Mike Miller special.
It's good.
The $3 million veteran minimum, and that covers it. Mike Miller, get on the team.
Really surprised his pitch to Dwyane Wade didn't get him to Denver. Really stunned by this.
Yes.
Dwyane Wade leaves. He goes to my Bulls. 2 years, $47 million.
Let's just start right there. What do you think about that from a Bulls perspective?
What, he's 34, 2 years. I mean, I'm sure he wanted a third. 2 years, good deal. We'll give you whatever the hell you want for 2 years, since that's probably all you got left. Bulls are on the verge there of, are we trading everybody, or what the hell are we doing here? And they said, nope, we'll keep Jim Butler. Rondo, I wanted him. They signed him. Good enough. Dwyane Wade, didn't think that would happen. It did. Good enough just to kind of stay steady here for the next couple of years, so you maybe can sign somebody next year.
They've sort of remodeled their lineup. They've knocked out a bedroom, turned it into a living room type thing. Sort of recreating their lineup. I think that's fine, especially when you can't. I mean, it is a lot of money to commit to an older guy.
But it's 2 years.
It is 2 years, yeah. I would say that it doesn't really give them exactly an identity for the next 2 years as far as what exactly they're going to be doing. Is it rebuilding or going for broke, or it's going to put them in the playoffs. Aside from that, I'm not really sure what they're doing, but maybe they can figure that out. So
they lose Noah and Gasol and Rose. They've got some younger guys. Rondo is not a good shooter.
No.
Dwyane Wade is not a good three-point shooter either. And that would seem like a bad idea, considering if you don't make a lot of threes like the Timberwolves and the Bulls, you're probably not making the playoffs. So, Doug McDermott can shoot. We'll see what he can do. And
he gave up his number. So Wade could have it.
Oh, no. Cry to your dad about it again.
Your dad.
Big dad.
His dad is David Ortiz.
So I'm glad that they did something to kind of steady the ship, because if you're a free agent and you just, trade everybody, get Chris Dunn, get Levine, whoever you would have got, do you really want to go there if they would have won 20 games next year? Or if, maybe they can go 45, 50 games they can win this year. And they say, oh, I could see myself going there and being the difference between them, winning a couple playoff rounds or not. So
can I bring this conversation to a sudden halt?
Brian Williams, what happened?
Do you have your television on?
What channel?
Are you watching TBS, Nationals and the Mets?
TBS.
Yes, TBS.
They have baseball on. What channel is this?
I don't know.
You got
727, 742, 744 on there. One of those two. They're just going to commercial, but they have a terrible on-screen score bug graphic. I'm
off. Really? TBS going to pick it up here now. We're doing some TBS.
I don't know if this is for the rest of the season or what, but
I would assume so.
It's
they've changed some stuff.
They did. The graphic is terrible, so take a peek at that one when you get a chance.
Yes.
Okay, so from the Miami perspective, this Dwyane Wade situation, where do you stand on them basically holding their ground and saying, nope, we'll pay you this much. We'll pay you $20 million a year. We don't care that we've slighted you or we've had you take less money over the years. This is what we're willing to pay. And what do you think about Wade basically saying, I'm worth more than that?
He was worth more. He got more. He got $7 million more. I don't believe Miami wanted him back. If they wanted him back, they would have kept him, but they didn't. They want to move on.
Mm-hmm.
He sacrificed some money for some titles. And in the end, it's probably worth it. He's got 3 of them, not bad. And I'd say in the end, he just got fed up with it and said, "I've done my time here. Let's do something different for a couple of years."
I would say that. I mean, it's going to be a little raw for a little while here, but in the grand scheme of things, it worked out for everybody. He got 3 titles. Dwyane Wade's profile is a lot larger because of that. And to me, he's got one of the more interesting career paths or whatever you'd want to say. But
like when we always talk about Kobe and LeBron and Durant and Curry and Duncan and all these guys and Shaq, and then Wade. We never mention him. He's like on that second tier of guys who he's not. He's very close to being good enough to be the guy on a championship team.
Mm-hmm.
He was very good with Shaq there. He was the best guy there, but he probably needs one other guy just as good as he is to do something.
Yeah, that's just really my point is that, he won with Shaq. He won with LeBron. He won in a couple different ways. That 2006 finals to me is very interesting. Just kind of 2 weird teams playing each other for the championship. And I think, he's had a really successful career, great career in Miami. And so I don't think you can really, knock him too much. If the investment is the money he gave up for 3 championships, I'd say that was worthwhile. And if you're Miami, you got to move on. I mean, you can't get into a Kobe-like deal where you're locking too much money into one guy. So, and apparently Denver offered the most money, and so if it, again, I think Wade probably took less money to be in a better situation in Chicago than Denver. Denver would be a terrible situation.
We talked in the chat this week. Mr. Schottenkirk thought Durant didn't have any balls because he didn't stay where he was. A player of this caliber doesn't move very often. Like the Birds and the Age Johnsons and the Jordans all stay where they are. But the deal was they already had the guys around them. They had the Pippins and the Rodmans and the Horace Grants and the McHales and the Parishes and the Kriens and the Worthies. They had their 2 other guys already with them that they drafted or traded for. So, I mean, Durant didn't have that. He had Westbrook and he had nobody else really. They got rid of Harden, and they didn't have that because you basically need 3 guys now to do anything. So I don't know if you want to say a championship with Golden State wouldn't mean as much as if it was with Oklahoma City. Is there an example out there where a guy went somewhere, got a title, and like, well, this just is tainted as all hell because he won this title with this team, he didn't win it with this other team. I just really can't think of an example like that.
Yeah, and if you're sort of excluding the guys at the end of their career,
or the guys still in their prime, like a Reggie White went to Green Bay, won a title there. He was still very good with Green Bay.
Yeah.
I just,
but even that's different because it pretty clearly was not going to work in Philadelphia, and Philadelphia, they moved him. That's how that goes. So,
if you win a title, that's the most important thing. Is what people have decided. You have to win. And
you ask every single player in every single sport, that's what they want. It's not about winning MVPs or going to All-Star games or being first team All NHL, NBA, NFL. It's about winning the title. That's why they play. And if that's not the end goal, what difference is it? It's all the same. It's all dumb things to talk about. So I think he did what he thought he had to do, and it's hard for us. I think, we're not in that situation. We don't know. We've never been anywhere near an NBA championship, so I think it's hard to really know exactly how that decision's made.
He's got a better chance to win with Golden State. I think that's what it boils down to. Very simple.
I would be surprised if that didn't just, it didn't just come down to that when he's thinking about it in the Hamptons, where he's just like, I like all the guys on that team. and they're really good, I want to be a part of that, and I can probably have a better chance of winning a title. I would also say that if the Warriors didn't win the championship last year, I think the blowback would be a little less as well. Whereas it would be like, well, everybody's winning the title all at the same time, their first title, but because they've already got one and Durant doesn't, I think some people hold that against Durant, which is a dumb thing. But
the deal of, they lost to him, they almost beat him, so if he would have went to the Spurs, it would have been, well, it still sucks, but the Spurs haven't won it. They didn't win it last year, so whatever.
But if you're an Oklahoma City fan, wouldn't that bother you as much, if not more? Because, I mean, aren't they their rivals? Isn't that kind of like
Spurs and now the Warriors are probably the two best, big rivals there. Would you which one do you think Golden State would want here? The way things went down, where they lose in the finals and they get Durant, or they win in the finals and they don't get Durant?
I honestly think they'll take this way.
Take this way?
Because Durant, I mean, you've got a legitimate chance at 3 titles now in the next 4 to 5 years. So I think it's pretty hard to argue with that. And, it sort of covers up the ginormous collapse they did have. It wasn't long ago that we were talking about that. But this is a good consolation prize.
And the dominance of the West, you said, has the West become the East? Well,
that was something that was proposed. I don't really buy that, but
it's like, it's the Lakers or the Spurs. That's the way it was for 10 years. It was the Lakers or it was the Spurs, or it was 2 years with Dallas. So it's always been. It's just the way the NBA is for whatever reason. There's 3 teams, 4 teams maybe every year, and those are your teams that are going to be there. For whatever reason, that's the way it is. So I think it's probably got the worst regular season of all the sports.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, let's get this shit done with here so we can get to the end of May and watch some goddamn basketball we want instead of watching Toronto clusterfuck their way up and down the court.
Somebody's got to beat Indiana. It's good. We got to have.
Oh God, we got to get Indiana. Need Indiana in there.
Just have Atlanta and Washington and Toronto and Indiana. It's like all play each other, and then like one of those teams can advance to like the finals against the Cavs.
Or just make them one big team.
You're a super team. You got to figure your shit out, and we'll give you a week to practice. And then it's go time, Eastern Finals against the Cavs.
Very good. Stacking, I think Stacken's missed 2 shows. This might be a record.
Stacking. Get out the records. Look through the records, the attendance logs, and see what's going on.
I came up, Amber Alerts for the kids, regardless of their gender, even though Amber would be a color, not only a color, but a woman's name. I came up with, I don't know, something for the little boys. A David alert or Danny alert or
a Bobby alert.
A Bobby alert. You got to get out a Bobby alert for Stacking. So that's good. Looking at the baseball.
Say the baseball. Say it.
The Twins have not been awful for a week and a half.
Kind of refreshing.
Phillies are bad, Braves are bad, Reds are bad, but it seems like no matter how bad you are, there'll be a stretch where you will win 5 or 6 games in a row, no matter how bad you are. And the Twins, for God's sakes, are finally on this stretch where they're not total garbage. The pitching very good, the offense very good. It's all coming together. Somehow it's against the goddamn Rangers. Second best record in baseball. Best record in the American League. Somehow the Rangers are their team that they beat this season.
Them and the Indians, the 2 best teams in the American League.
They own them. Yeah, this score bug here in TBS, they got to kind of cut it in half now. A little large. Logos are big.
Good.
So it takes up quite a bit of space on the top left.
Like, what was the matter with the old one? Like, that's sometimes what I ask.
It was old. You had to change it. They had no choice.
An important update regarding the Twins. They are 17.5 out of the last wild card spot. So I feel like they're in it. I feel like you start after the All-Star break hot, and maybe you can get her going.
They're only 3 games behind Tampa, which is quite amazing that they're not and they're actually a game ahead of the Braves. So
things are looking up.
So instead of getting that first pick, we may end up with like the 4th or 5th pick.
Oh,
I don't like it. I mean, the Cubs got out to that fast start. They've slowed way down. My Giants are kicking everybody's ass.
It's an even year after all.
It is. I'm very intrigued just by looking at these teams. 50 wins by the All-Star break. 4 teams in the National League have got that, and 3 in the American League. So it seems fairly even throughout baseball. You got the Rangers, you got the Indians. Hope Baltimore does well. It seems like it's fairly, there's no team running away with it. So I like the whole deal here, and I like Miami being in the mix. They're a game out of the last wild card. The Mets, Matt Harvey's been awful, so I would say.
And now he's done. So
he's dead. So he's out for the rest of the year, and I would say that is a positive because he's been awful. If you can get a guy off your team that has an ERA north of 5, and he doesn't have to pitch anymore, that'd be a good thing. It'd be a real good thing. Dodgers, they're hanging around if they don't have Kershaw. We'll see how long they last, but he's basically their team because I saw a stat, their record when he starts, their record when he doesn't start, and it's a lot better when he does. And when he doesn't, they're under 500. So.
Yeah, the bad thing about baseball is if you have an ace pitcher, he only throws about 20% of the time. So you better get some shit figured out if he can't go.
Anything to worry about here with the Cubs? They've lost 9 of 10. That's not good.
It's not good. I think it's maybe a little bit of them coming back to earth. I think they're still 6.5 games clear of the Pirates' second place. I would say that they're probably in pretty good shape, but I don't know.
They're by no means like, the Cubs are making the playoffs. Well, probably.
Yeah,
but
probably.
It's not like you can say, oh yeah, they're definitely in.
Yeah, they're the 27 Yankees. No, let's cool it. I think the pitching needs a little bolstering. Is that what?
Arrieta's not been even good. He's been average at best.
Yeah.
ERA 4 or 5 last month, so he's definitely come back to what he was with Baltimore. See what happens with him. National League thing I haven't liked about it is like we know the teams like a month away. We know like at beginning of September who's in. Mm-hmm. Here you got the Dodgers a game and a half ahead of the Mets, who are their game ahead of the Marlins.
We might see some stuff this year. We might see some stuff.
Pirates, yeah. You got 4 or 5 teams in there.
Who will have the privilege of playing in Pittsburgh and winning the wild card game?
Pittsburgh in the wild card game this year. Could it be Miami? Could it be the Mets? Could it be the Dodgers? Who the hell knows?
St. Louis Cardinals only 2 games back.
Great fucking Cardinals getting their ass kicked by Pittsburgh. Going to pick them this week. Good job.
Arizona Diamondbacks 10 back.
Yeah, 3rd worst team in the league. Good job. Good job. American League. Seattle is 5 back. Where are we drawing the line here as far as Oakland's 11 back. They're done. Seattle and New York are 5.5 back.
People generally believe that the Yankees are bad. The Yankees maybe should be sellers here if they can be.
Can I make up a new term? Sellers or buyers? Can I make up a new term?
What is that?
Keeper. Just keep your guys. Don't sell. Don't buy. Keep.
Nope.
It's
not allowed.
You're one of the others.
This is a very binary situation. You're one or the other.
Boston and Toronto tied. That's your wild card. My Astros, real goddamn good Astros. 2 back, making some headway. Good to see. Kansas City, hope they don't make it. Detroit, they're over 500. They're better than I thought. And Eamon's White Sox, 3.5 back. So I hope the White Sox are in it until the final day for Eamon's sake.
If they turn a triple play every day for the rest of the season, I think they'll be in good shape.
Did they do that yesterday or what?
They did, I think, on Friday. It's apparently already their 3rd triple play of the season.
What the fuck?
I think I read that. I read that somewhere.
shit. That's unbelievable.
I now need to double check it, but
I think I remember one earlier this year. They did, and I did not know they did one the other night. Where would you put Ed Nunez? I would say, as far as the courtesy twin All-Star, he's probably having one of the better seasons, since you could make a case that he's an actual All-Star.
Yeah, as far as like, yeah, I would agree. Like you got to have a guy in the All-Star game, and he ends up being your guy. I'd say that ends up working out pretty good. I mean, Joe Mauer's had some good seasons in the years where he's had to go. But the domestic violence guy just hit a home run for the Mets. So he's got a 2 home run game. He's hit 2 solo home runs already.
Really?
Yes.
Those are some nice looking uniforms, I gotta say.
They are. I love those.
Those are tremendous. Those are just great.
Good catch by the man in the purple shirt right by the foul pole. Nice job.
Wife beater guy right there.
Good. So yes, this is the third season or first season since 1979 that they've turned 3 triple plays in one season.
Any team or just them?
Any team. Last team was 1979 Athletics and the 1979 Boston Red Sox. Also 1965 Cubs, 1964 Philadelphia Phillies.
Colt 45 is not in there.
The Colt 45 is not in. They turned this triple play was a 6-3 triple play.
A 6-3?
Yeah, a line drive to Tim Anderson at shortstop, and he tagged out the outfielder or tagged out the runner, and then stepped on second base and threw to first for a triple play. And then earlier this year, they turned a 9-3-2-6-2-5 triple play.
That's a bit much. I assume that's the first ever
of that variety. I have no idea. And then against your Colt 45s on May 18th, they turned a more conventional 5-4-3 triple play.
Son of a bitch. Craig Kimbrell on the DL for a month and a half. Knee surgery.
See you later.
For the Red Sox, we'll get Koji Uehara. 99-year-old Koji Uehara will overtake, be the closer again.
I believe that'll be a record.
And that'll be a record. And then our guy from the Diamondbacks, Brad Ziegler, save him for the 12th, has been traded to the Red Sox, because obviously Arizona sucks, so why the hell would you need a closer? Certainly don't use them when you have a lead, and certainly don't use them when you want to win a fucking game. So there you go.
You have some first-hand experience of their poor bullpen use.
Yep.
We saw it.
It somehow didn't cost them the game, because the Rockies aren't very good either. So
because of El Donkey.
El Donkey, great catch, great all-around player. Terrible fielder, great all-around player.
Great all-around player, except he plays right field. He plays right field very Miguel Sano-esque.
Very awesome.
Great arm, but no real semblance of how to play in right field. Maybe they need to move him to third base.
Maybe that. And we talked a little bit about trading guys, Twins trading guys.
Your boy Irv had a nice start this week.
A little two-hit job there.
That going to help?
Shouldn't hurt. So he might be one of the guys. Steam on him. Nunez, Amon wants to run him out of town. He's got a bias against Nunez. Also see here maybe the co-closers, Abad and Kinsler, could be on the way as well.
I feel like Abad, more so than Nunez, is like a sell high, see if you can't get rid of him for a guy or two.
It's interesting because, the bullpen's not good, and you would like to have guys, but like if you can, because they should be easily replaceable. It shouldn't, but this team, they're not. Like if they get rid of their two best guys, like
they barely could be found in the first place. So as far as replacing them could be quite difficult.
There's two guys brought in off the scrap heap, and they're your two best guys. Taylor Rogers done very good in the bullpen, transition there. So if they get rid of a couple of those guys, see who they could get. That would be could be a very active trade deadline. My guy Buxton gets hurt again. I just think he's just always going to get hurt. He's running into walls.
He's a little spry.
Whatever it is.
Not a huge human, so that might be a thing.
Also, Amon's guy, Ed Rosario, 4 runs,
Ed.
4 hits.
Ed.
Good deal.
We haven't heard much from Escobar lately. He's not doing much. But the other Eds are coming around. Rosario, obviously Ed Nunez going to the All-Star game. So it's been an all right month for the Eds.
The more I think about Park Bang, I like Park Bang.
Mm-hmm.
He isn't very good, but I like him. And just how dumb that signing was, considering all of a sudden Kenny Vargas is back. Kenny Vargas hitting balls all over the place.
3 months of not even you don't even hear a peep about him, and then they just drop him in the lineup, and he's pounding the crap out of the ball. And it's like, oh yeah, maybe we shouldn't have. The whole Park Bank thing, that might not have been ideal.
Like, you got Kenny Vargas, you got Arcia, you've got all these DH guys. So no, give them a few games at DH. You got all these guys. No, what we need another DH. It's like, it's so goddamn dumb is what the whole thing was. It didn't make any sense. And now he's, in AAA. Stay away from the Asians, Twins. Don't sign the Asians.
It is funny. To me, it's funny that they just go years after Ortiz without a DH, and now all of a sudden they got like 3 of them.
Awful.
Just like, what are you guys doing?
Bad. Anything else on the sports front?
Is this the end of the show already?
We got the ESPYs coming up, and we got to have a ESPYs preview. Ron Kirk's not here to talk UFC. It was good last night, UFC 200. It was noteworthy. I don't know if it was good. It was certainly plenty to talk about.
It sounded like, let's see, just going to give you my my brief rundown from what I read on Twitter, and you can tell me if I was wrong. The Daniel Cormier, he won as expected. Anderson Silva, he gave him a fight, but probably a little overmatched. He was a little overmatched there.
A lot overmatched. Yes.
A lot overmatched. Okay. Brock Lesnar, he did what Brock Lesnar should do.
Goddamn fantastic. He was
what the people want. Yes.
Wrestled the guy, laid on him, punched the fuck out of him for 5 minutes. He was as good as he's ever been. 39 years old, big son of a bitch. Hopefully he fights again, because if he does, I think he could win the title again. Cain Velasquez, another heavyweight, who's probably the best heavyweight now, coming back off of a back injury. I'd say he's the only guy I would feel confident that could beat Lesnar, I think.
Did they fight each other before the first time he was in UFC?
Yep, and Lesnar was the champ. Cain Velasquez beat him.
Okay. So. Yeah, it seems like that's what everybody's sort of angling for. And then what ended up being the main fight, right? The women's fight ended up being the main card. I don't think I even stayed up. I don't even know what I was doing when this was going on last night. But Miesha Tate lost, right?
It was a 3-minute fight. Amanda Nunez from Brazil won. The words escape me to describe the decision. 1, to make the fight. 2, to make it the main event. Your biggest build as your biggest pay-per-view of all time, and this is literally the, at best, 4th fight on a 5-fight card. So John Jones suspended for 2 years for PEDs, just an absolute idiot.
So I'm guessing there was a reluctance to make the fight with Lesnar, even though that was the most popular fight, making that the main event.
That was the main event for like half a day. Like, all right, the John Jones is out. Brock Lesnar fight. This is the main event, and this was the main event. And then the next day, nope, this women's fight. This is the main event. They've been pretty Consistent. If there's a title fight, that's your main event, which is that's not bad. That's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And this is really the only real non-interim title fight of the night. And you make it the main event, whatever. Doesn't really matter. But yeah, women's division is not good now. So
the Jon Jones thing, just sort of mind-numbingly stupid thing where like he's already been busted one time, and now he's got a 2-year ban ahead of him. I won't say that basically ends his career because it quite clearly does. It doesn't end.
No.
That doesn't sort of end things in the UFC, and he's still in his 20s, right? I mean, he's
he'll
like
be
26.
30 years old. His next fight, assuming he fights in 2 years, will be 30. He's only had one fight in the last year anyway because of suspensions and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
The best fighter there's ever been. He was good early on. A build like nobody. Reach.
Right.
He's got like an 84-inch reach.
He's a very springy, long, powerful person.
Built very good for a sport like this. And boy, he fucked up. Boy, this guy had the world by the balls, and now he's done. And Cormier hates this man. They hate each other. And Cormier's like 37 right now, so he'll probably be done if Jon Jones ever comes back. If he does ever fight him again, I mean, he lost once. I think he'll lose again. Cormier is very good. He's a very good wrestler. Jon Jones is just better than everybody else. So he could have another 7-8 year career if he gets his shit together. But if he gets caught one more time, I think it's I don't know if it's a lifetime ban or like a 5-6 year ban, but it's one more and you're done. Basically.
I mean, I just don't know how anybody could really trust him to do the right thing at this stage, where it's just like maybe in 2 years it'll be different because that's a long time. But it's hard to how can you trust that he's actually going to do something like that? You can't. So
if he'd said, "Oh yeah, I'm ready to go and I'm good now," but it wasn't. So.
I watched the video of UFC. They're behind the scenes things, and they showed Dana White breaking the news to Cormier, and very broken up about it. You could tell he wanted to fight, and when you think about how much time these guys put in to one fight and how much they train, that's pretty terrible. And at that time, of course, they didn't even know if there would be a fight. And Cormier basically said, "I'll fight anybody. I'll fight whatever you got. I'll sign whatever I got to sign."
Yeah, he even said, "I'll fight Jones anyway. Just sign something. I just want to fight him. I don't give a shit."
Yep.
Like, no, we can't do that. Rules are rules.
Yep. So
I think he was going to make $1 million, ended up making $500,000. Brock Lesnar and Jon Jones obviously lost millions of dollars on this deal. Mm-hmm. Brock Lesnar, your big winner of the night. Go to the pay window. $2.5 million guaranteed, plus whatever, I'm sure it'll be over $1 million buys pay-per-view. Mm-hmm. I think the records are close to $1.1 million. $1.5 million. If Jon Jones would have been there, I think it would have come very close to breaking that record. But I'm sure it'll still be over $1 million.
So. I mean, considering how long this has been hyped up, UFC 200 has all the different options they've had to have, these mega fights and have this be the biggest card ever. What sort of disappointment is this?
It's very bad. It's very. I heard somebody compare it to WrestleMania this year, or it was WrestleMania 32, but it was in Dallas Stadium, 100,000 people, and they had a lot of guys get hurt on the wrestling side of things. This more was on the suspension side of things, and on this whole thing started with the Conor McGregor thing, and that was going to be your main event. Mm-hmm. And then he, called their bluff, and he said, "Nope. Oh, you're retired. Oh, okay, you're retired. You're off the show. Nope. I want to be on the show. Nope. You're not on the show anymore." He was there in the the
I saw the photo. Did you see that photo of him?
Were you standing up?
Yeah, standing up.
Jesus Christ.
That is a terrific photo.
That is very good. So, I mean, that was your main event, and then the Jon Jones things is your main event. And all right, I thought that would have been the main event all along. And then all of a sudden we get stuck with what we fucking got stuck with. And I mean, it wasn't there at one point, they had sort of targeted Ronda Rousey for
fight here as well, and of course that didn't happen. So this kind of, I feel like it all sort of blew up on him.
I mean, November will be a year, and she's not going to fight any sooner than November. So once you're a year out of the deal, unlikely to come back much after that. So they do have Madison Square Garden coming up in November. That'll be their next really big deal there because of the building in New York City. So
sure,
that's coming up, and you got some good fights there. Conor McGregor and Aldo, I would hope would be on that card right there. Maybe another women's fight to get these women to fight each other again. So, any other sport at the big draft? Me and Shotton, we got 2 viewers right now, breaking an old record of 1 viewer. Maybe somebody's got multiple windows open. But me and Shottenkirk this week, we got to get the draft done this week. Our wrestling draft, it's on next Tuesday, so we got to get it done this week.
I don't know what you guys are waiting for. You got the All-Star break here. This is your chance to get it in. So
we got a baseball pick'em update. What have we got here? Anything with the pick'em?
I saw that the leaders have slimmed to 2. David and Charlie, as of yesterday, were both within 2 games of each other, and I am next closest. I'm 8 back. So I haven't been all over these picks. I don't even know if they're how up to date they've been this week. Some asshole's been getting on my back all week about them. You can guess who that is. Charlie.
Take the fucking picks.
Charlie 2 up, 2.5 up at this stage, and then I guess I'm only 6.5 back. David 2.5 back. Then it's stacking. 10 back. Travis 13 back. Drew Allen 13.5. My
fucking
father.
Cardinals. Goddamn Cardinals.
Yes, this week, Blue Jays. That's who I had. They've been quite good. 5-1 this week.
Good.
Let's see. Charlie 3-2. David looks like he was 3-2 so far. Nathan Stack and 4-2. So it looks like in this segment of the season we are basically at the halfway point. I've been decent, 25-20. David and Charlie both 27-16. That's the best.
They're tied.
Mark. Yeah, in this last this will be a 7-week period. They've been equal. And
Charlie's ahead by 2.5.
Charlie 58-29. David Schottenkirk 56-32, and then I'm next closest 53-37. Everybody except our departed friend Derek Hodge above 500. My father at 48-47. That's the other worst mark. Drew 48-46. He did give me my pick yesterday. I saw him yesterday.
Doug.
He's taking the Twins this next week. 3 games against Cleveland. He figured this would be the best chance to take them on, and I don't necessarily disagree with that. I think it's in Minnesota, so that's not bad.
I picked the Braves or the Phillies. I think of the Braves next week because of the 3-day week. So
you are down to you have the Braves, and David Schottenkirk has the Detroit Tigers.
Time to get your shitty teams in a 3-team week.
Get them in. This is your shot.
It's supposed to be 99 today.
I'm not going outside until I have to.
It says like it's like 80 something now. It doesn't seem too bad. It was this morning had some rain.
Yeah. Did you? I got woken up by that ginormous atomic bomb, like couple thunder cracks. Did you hear those?
When was this?
Oh, probably. I guess 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock.
I was in Salem by.
Oh, Salem, yes. Salem.
There was a big car show weekend here in the lounge.
Yep.
Car shows all across America.
Bank robbery yesterday, right?
Didn't see it, but sounded good. Sounded like that'd be a good idea.
It sounded like it'd be fun. Did they have Chislik there?
Didn't ask.
What a shame.
Think they did.
What a shame. They probably ate it all last week. Their little ballpark thing. So.
Shoot, 107 in Pier today, 107 in Pier, 108 in Phillip.
That's not right.
What do you mean that's not right?
107?
Not now, but later on today, yeah.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like they got like 6 o'clock here. It's supposed to be like 99.
Stay
Why,
inside, folks? Stay inside. Thoughts on police killing people and people killing police? You said something about this may have come to a head, or maybe it didn't. Maybe it's just another chapter in is people just killing each other
I would,
for why not?
I mean, I would say that there's been a lot of dumb things said already, but we haven't reached the point of like the politicalness of it, and I don't know if we will. I would assume we will. You know, all these things end up turning political at some point. But you don't have Trump weighing in, and
They've been quiet this week because of the
yep,
deals.
yep,
So they'll pick it up again here, I'm sure, on Monday.
yeah.
I don't know what you say about this as far as he's concerned.
Well, the one thing, I don't know what he would say. You know, as far as like the shooting itself,
Which
and
one?
I'm speaking first. I don't really know much about the Baton Rouge situation. I've read more about the Falcon Heights, Minnesota situation, just mainly because I'm closer to that. I read the Star Tribune and all those news sources all the time. We're starting to see some of these, you know, cracks that you typically get in this story, where just like with the Jamar Clark shooting from last year, where you know all these things are said, and then it turns out, well, that's not really true, and now this car that he was driving was linked to an armed robbery earlier in the week. So
The
you
Minnesota
know,
guy or the guy last year?
the Minnesota thing, yeah, that's what I've heard at least. Um, you know, I still think sort of this systematic, you know, racism of pulling black people over. I'm not a black person. I'm not going to pretend to say that I know exactly what they're going through. There's no way I would. But I think it's not fiction. I mean, this stuff does happen, and I think one of the more important things that I've heard, and a thing that I absolutely agree with, is that not every police officer that's a police officer should be a police officer. And there's just some people that they're police officers, and they're not cut out for it. And that's not to disparage them or anything. It's just the facts. And it's just like, I don't think there's any career where that's not the case. Some journalists are not cut out to be journalists, and they eventually get weeded out, I hope. And that's the way it needs to be with police as well. We do hold them to a very high standard, sometimes an unrealistic standard. As far as the guilt of the officers in this situation, I'm sure it will be fleshed out. And so I think they're just situations that speak to sort of this larger problem, and they're all sort of stacked up. I mean, we're not to the point where there's one or two of them now. There's dozens of these situations.
It happens every single day. I read the AP thing every goddamn day, and there's fucking a half dozen cases. The police killed this guy. The police killed that guy. I'm sure a lot of the cases it's justified, but it's like, Jesus Christ.
Right.
This is like fucking the weather. The weather today, it's July 8th. It's July 9th. It's warm today. No shit.
Yeah.
Please kill another dozen people.
Yeah, and you have a lot of people who, this whole Black Lives Matter thing, and
okay,
now,
what do you make of all lives matter? The people that post all lives matter. It's like, Jesus Christ.
Well, I think yes, in theory, if you're just talking about those three words as a phrase.
What are we doing here with the as far as white people? We're not getting shot. I got no gun.
Right, exactly.
I'm running red lights like a son of a bitch out there. I don't give a shit.
All lives matter to me is code for shut the hell up, black people, white.
I'm a racist. I don't
right.
care about
I'm
your
a
problems.
racist. That's what that
means.
And I've also seen the whole blue lives matter.
Wow.
And to me, that's kind of code for I don't care what cops do. They shouldn't be questioned. Everything they do is perfect. And if they have to shoot somebody, so be it. You have people who say, well, I don't know.
What do people say?
They say, if a cop pulls you over and tells you what to do and says, put your hands on your head and get out of the car and all this stuff, you have to do it. And in some ways that's true. I mean, in almost all the ways it's true. But if you're a black person and you're just complying with everything that the cops say, that's not a good situation for them to be in. We've seen how that comes to backfire on them because you have racist cops, you have bad cops.
What are the cops afraid of? Because this guy in Minnesota,
they're afraid of getting shot, and I can't say that that's not valid because it is. You see cops get shot.
Unfortunate for this gentleman in Minnesota that he had a gun on him at the time. Unfortunate there. And you reach for the pocket, you reach for your holster. It's not a good deal. What, he was in the passenger seat, it looks like?
Yeah.
You know what, the busted taillight, you pull him over, you know, registration appears to say, like, he's like, I got a gun on me here, this is my gun here. At that point, you maybe do something instead of telling him, yeah, let me see your ID, and he goes and reaches for his pocket, which is right near his gun.
Right.
You know.
But the main thing here is that we don't know exactly if that's how that transpired. Yes. We're using the girlfriend's description of that situation as what happened.
Or how about this?
She's inherently biased. She is inherently biased, and so. And I can't remember if they said that they had body cameras on the cop there or not.
They don't.
They didn't. Yeah. Okay, so
I don't know how they don't. I don't know how everybody does it now. It's amazing how that you got cameras everywhere. Everybody that's got a phone, it's a camera. It's a computer with the camera. Mm-hmm. You got it. I don't know how everybody doesn't have it. I don't know how.
So I don't know how this is all going to unfold. Because obviously the moment leading up, there is dash cam video, but that just is going to have the motions. I don't know how much of the sound that's going to have. Who really knows how this is all going to play out? But I would, history would tell us more often than not, the cop is going to be found in the right and justified. And so we'll see if that happens. That, there's going to be an outrage. And I would also say, I'm having a problem here with, especially in the cities where, Black Lives Matter is protesting on interstates and blocking interstates. And it's just like, find a park to do this in because this is ridiculous. And I just, and there's people trying to tie the symbolism of, the freeway was built through black neighborhoods and ruined those neighborhoods. And it's like, well, that did happen a long time ago, and also the freeway's got to go somewhere. And it's not necessarily the right thing that they did that 50 years ago, but they did it. And if we're still going to hold that as one of the reasons we're going to do this, I think that's kind of insane. So, as far as we haven't even got to the Dallas thing, and
you would assume something like that would happen after all these cases. Somebody would say, "Okay, we're gonna get some of our own here. We're gonna shoot up the police." And I guess I haven't heard a lot about it as far as what there were. This was days ago. There was apparently 4 people. One of them, they killed one of them with the robot thing.
That was what they reported right away. The police said there's 4 people. There's 3 people.
Is that then the next guy? Then the next was the main guy. I mean, was he the only one, or are there a couple more people here? Where are these people at?
Just the guy they killed with the bomb sniffing thing was the only person.
Well, who's this other guy? Was that?
They let him go. He wasn't involved. Almost as soon as they sent out the photo saying this is our guy.
This was one guy.
What are we talking about here?
The Dallas thing.
Yeah, which part of it?
Who shot?
Okay, so there was one sniper.
That's it.
Yes, but as soon as the that night they killed that sniper. They killed him overnight in the morning.
Like, how do they get that wrong? We're like, well, I know it's a kind of a fluid deal, but you're like, well, there's 3 or 4 of these fuckers out there, and and they're ready to go.
Yeah, well, I think the multiple shooter thing, one of the theories was they're in a downtown situation and you hear all these gunshots and you think they're bouncing off buildings and stuff, and so you think there's more shooters than there are, and in this moment of mass hysteria, I guess they had no idea or they couldn't exactly figure it out. I think if you're the police, again, I'm not a policeman, I know very little about.
I mean, you sent your application in the highway patrol.
Yep.
It takes about a year. You know, you got to get certified. All this bullshit.
You got to go do the camp.
You got to, you know, play duck hunter on the game to so he can shoot.
I don't know a ton about police tactics, but I imagine you need to get the list of suspects narrowed down very quickly. And they had been taking people in, talking to them. They sent out the tweet saying, "This is our guy." A guy fucking holding
that wasn't the guy.
That wasn't the guy.
A
huge assault rifle, and like 2 minutes later, photographer from the Dallas Morning News posts this video, and yep, here's this guy walking away from all the shooting as soon as it happens, and he handed over his gun to the police, and he was questioned and all this. You know, I've heard that he was good-hearted, but he also, depending on where you stand on this whole issue, shouldn't have had to go through that. On the other side, you shouldn't be carrying a goddamn assault rifle if you're part of this protest.
He was. I saw an interview there. I think it might have been last night with him or a couple nights ago. They actually had the guy on and said, "This is the guy."
Yep.
And like, oh, Second Amendment. That's my right. That's my right. Like, and the guy's like, "Why the fuck were you carrying a goddamn gun?"
Texas open carry. That's legal as hell.
That's my right. Well, bad idea, folks. Bad fucking idea. Let's go to the goddamn Chipotle with the AR-47 on the back of my shoulder here. Because goddamn it, if they don't give me what the fuck I want, it's my goddamn right. So there you go.
What I would say about this shooting in Dallas is that, it's unquestionably terrible. I think this sort of fits into the terrorism thing. I don't know where we're going to put this on the gun control, list of things to do. I don't think it's probably going to get much political steam in that way.
I don't know what the guy used to shoot everybody with. Whatever.
I haven't really heard.
Whatever it was, he shouldn't be. They shouldn't make it. They shouldn't be allowed to buy it. That's as simple as that.
He was in the Army.
Well, fuck
I don't know. So I don't know how exactly he got this type of gun. I don't know what kind of gun it was. The one part I hate about this, and I had another point, I forgot about it, but the one part I hate about this is that, I'm a believer of the whole cops community thing because, I grew up in a small town and I knew the town cop, and one of my friends' dads was one of the county policemen, did the whole DARE program at school, and they're good people. And, I'm guessing that most of the cops in this country are good people, but it's hard to really think that or know exactly more about them when they've got to be armored up all the time, and they've got to be carrying these huge guns, and they got to wear a Kevlar jacket. And, you see, they're more like SWAT team guys all the time than, if the SWAT team's always being called in. And this is only going to fuel more of this militarization thing that we have in this country where, police need these mine-resistant vehicles, and they need Humvees and all this stuff. And I don't think you can really say at this point that they don't need that. When you have a situation like this, it does sort of validate all that stuff, even as terrible as it is. So it's difficult. To me, the police are very important. Their primary job is to protect us. And, anybody who thinks that this is sort of, that criticizing them is attacking them doesn't understand those words. That's a problem I have with that. But it makes me want to just delete my Facebook altogether because
you can really separate the groups here, but based on what they're posting here.
Well, and I would say the main thing is they're people I know or people I knew, growing up, and they're posting things that are just sort of insane, and you're just like, where's that delete button? Where's that unfriend button? Because we're going to end this right here. So, and there's other people who are a little bit more nuanced and they have good opinions, and those are more people we need to hear from. It's weird to think about, what sort of impact this has in Mitchell, South Dakota, because I don't really know. It's
none.
It has none, but you're still part of the conversation. It's still going to be something everybody's talking about. But it's kind of amazing how in the last year, how much more this whole racism stuff has been. It's been brought out. It's always been there, but it's been brought out of the closet and put right in the middle of the street. And you just have white people who have always hated blacks, and now they have an excuse to get back out there and get back on their high horse. And that's terrible. The fact that we're basically back, in some ways where we were 50 years ago.
Did you know that Obama's a Muslim? Did you know that?
Right. The fact that you still have fucking idiots who believe that and are just so goddamn wrong. I posted a bunch of the Facebook comments in our chat because I just can't help myself from reading that stuff and wanting to point out idiots and morons, and I have to put them out there, because if I see an idiot, I have to make fun of them in some way, even in the smallest of ways. And the people who think that, now I got to find them. Now I got to read a couple of them, which I will do quickly.
Well, you had who's the one politician from, I don't know where it was, Texas maybe?
Well, there's one who tweeted, he was from a former guy from Illinois who tweeted that this is war on Obama.
What the fuck's he talking about?
So here's the one comment that Hillary Clinton funded this and planned it out. Everyone has known this. People who just, as soon as this happens, they're blaming Obama and Clinton and Benghazi and how they're just corrupt. And Hillary has said that Black Lives Matter, yet she is still, they hate people in uniform. They think that they've said this, that this is actual stuff. I think that Obama has definitely caused this. Why did he come on TV tonight, but not after an ISIS attack of Christians? So whites are not as important as blacks. The racial divide has widened under Obama. He's a terrible human being. Where has it said at all that Obama, this idea that the racial divide has widened under Obama or because of Obama is insane. It probably has.
I would say it's.
It has?
But it's not because of him.
No, it's not his fault. How could you sit here and say it's his fault? What would be the indication of why?
You can turn on the radio here pretty easily and hear stupid fuckers talking for 6 hours a day about shit that just fucking amazes me every time you listen to it and what they say. It's just unbelievable. Well, I was going to say
Obama enjoys watching this. Obama will never defend our policemen. What is Obama? What realistic legislation is he supposed to pass that would fix this? Would help save policemen? Because I'm guessing he'd probably be for it. But if anybody can think of what that would be, I'm all ears. Because
they just say shit. They don't know what's going on.
The people who think that this is somehow going to lead to martial law and then Obama is going to stay as president. What a bunch of idiots.
And they believe this. That's the deal. They believe this. That's unbelievable.
Or like the shooting happens and like 30 minutes after, people are like, why isn't Obama on TV? He hates the police. He hates white people. Why isn't he out there?
Well, the one was because he was over in Europe, and I'm sure it was 3 in the goddamn morning. Then they got up the next day. He went through his thing and said, this is fucking awful. I'm sure I'll give another fucking speech like this in 2 weeks when somebody else dies.
He's supposed to be in Dallas on Tuesday. I'm sure he'll say a lot of the same things. And Tuesday won't be fast enough for half these people.
I would like to post something on Facebook, kind of like a Mad Libs. Mad Libs. Insert major U.S. city here. Thoughts and prayers. Another dozen people die. Whatever the hell. There we go. And that'll do it for the 177th Sports Lounge as we wrap it up here on a Sunday. And he just leaves. What was this?
I'm sure he was watching and he thought he had to get involved. And,
Unbelievable. The Peach Jam Jammer himself, David Jottenkirk.
Watching it very comfortably from his home in Minnesota.
Home in Roanoke. So I guess with that, wrap it up. The 177th edition, the Gun and Muslim edition. It's apparently going to be hot. I'm really not going to find out because I don't plan on leaving. So go Vikings. Kirk, our one viewer, is back. Very good. We'll see you next week, 177. Too bad we couldn't get Stacken's thoughts on Larry Brown. He goes a week without a podcast. My goodness. And he's not on the show for 2 weeks.
The critically important news of Larry Brown, old-ass Larry Brown, leaving his job at SMU. Very important.
So this was the latest version of what is Stacken going to get bent out of shape about. That's fucking 3 on a scale of 10 that he thinks is a goddamn 9. I don't know what the next thing's going to be. Maybe an Olympic thing at the Olympics next month.
I was going to bring up that this Olympic thing, I can't wait for. I wonder if there'll be anybody who dies at the Olympics, because, like an athlete that dies because of the conditions.
Nope.
At the Olympics.
I'm getting very excited to read Stacken's blog next month as he writes about people he's never heard of.
As he regurgitates all the top storylines from NBC during the Olympics.
This guy did something good. I should type about it. Very good.
If you're gonna write about the Olympics, you got to commit to the very useless sports that are happening.
I really don't even want to watch it, let alone talk about it, let alone type it.
I will watch it, and that'll be the end of it.
Terrific. Sports Lounge 77 in the books. Done.